Welcome to Co-Opinions, where we talk about our opinions and want to hear about yours. We have a big show today. We have Brent.
You.
Caleb.
What's up?
Kara.
Hello.
And the primary focus of our episode today is going to be Pokemon Go. But we want to talk about a couple little things that also happened during the week and a couple things that we also played. So Brent, why don't you go first?
Since I was last on, I finished up Splatoon.
All right.
And I started Dishonored.
That's pretty exciting because I know the second one's coming out, and I absolutely love that first game. What about you, Caleb?
I've really been playing Bravely Second.
Interesting.
And trying to finish that up about halfway through.
So, did you enjoy the first one a lot then?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Is the second one living up to that?
Yeah, kind of, but it's almost like a rehash, you know?
In a good way or a bad way?
A good way. I mean, they're doing rehash well, but...
Okay, that's what matters because I played a game recently called Danganronpa for the Vita, and the second one started feeling like a rehash of the first one. Then they switched it up in the final hour, and it was awesome. So, yeah, it was pretty impressive. Yeah. Kara, you have pretty much just been playing Pokemon Go, right?
How do you have time to play anything else when there's Pokemon Go?
Yeah, you've pretty much been going all out on that one. But there are a couple stories that we want to talk about from this last week before we get into it. Brent, what did you have? I know you had some things you really wanted to focus on.
That new NES, the...
Mini NES.
Mini NES, is that what it is?
Handheld. Caleb, have you seen this? Kara, I'm sure you have.
I actually have not. Sorry.
So Nintendo announced yesterday that they were going to be releasing a handheld NES this holiday season that plays 30 Nintendo games. It's going to retail for $60. Not a bad price. It's also compatible with the original NES controllers, Pro controllers, and it looks like it should cash in on that nostalgia pretty well. So I think they're going to make some decent money. It's kind of interesting that they're basically releasing a legal emulator. At least that's how it comes across to me. And the problem with it is it's only going to play those 30 games, but honestly, can you name more than 30 Nintendo games that were popular? No.
Was Duck Hunt on that list?
I'm not sure.
I don't think it was.
I'm really not sure if it was because...
who owned an NES and didn't own Duck Hunt?
Well, it came bundled. So, yeah.
Don't ruin that.
Yeah, okay.
You can, if you're lucky, you can find Duck Hunt not bundled.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm almost positive.
I would want to look that up. I've never seen Duck Hunt without Mario attached.
I've only seen Duck Hunt with the NES,
Yeah, I can't speak to that. But you had something else.
2 Batman things. The rumored November release date for Return to Arkham.
They pushed back Arkham HD Collection to November, and we'll see if that holds out since the PC port of Arkham Knight was disastrous. We'll see if they hold out for quality reasons. Was there anything else that happened this week?
Batman Telltale game.
Oh yeah, they got an official release date for the Telltale game. I don't know, does anybody else in here? Kara, we played the Game of Thrones Telltale game.
Yeah.
Would you have any interest in the Batman one? I know you don't really follow comic stuff.
Yeah, not typically, but I mean, Telltale's done a pretty good job with what I've seen you play with The Walking Dead and then with...
Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch you play too much of that one, but I enjoyed Game of Thrones well enough that I'd be interested to give the Batman one a go.
And it is pretty impressive they want to have it all out this year.
Starting in September and it all being out this year is very aggressive.
Is The Walking Dead Season 3 supposed to be out this year? I don't remember.
I thought they said it was supposed to be starting by the end of this year, but I'm not positive. Caleb, have you played any of the Telltale games?
I played, the first season of the Walking Dead one, and then the Fable one, the
Wolf Among Us. Yeah.
And those were pretty good. I'd be excited to see what they did with the Batman one.
I've heard some pretty positive buzz going into this, so I'm real excited to see where that goes.
I mean, he's my favorite, comic, so I feel like as long as they keep it as dark as he is in the comics, at least true to him to an extent, it should be good.
Yeah, we should probably be fine.
I think most people are bummed because it's not Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, I know that you keep bringing that up, but pretty sure people will be fine.
Last thing, which I think segues into our main topic, the legendary picture circling Pokemon movie rights.
We will touch on that in the main subject for how amazingly this has grown out. Caleb, have there been any little news stories you've seen during the week?
A little more press for Sun and Moon.
Oh yeah, they
But-
did release pictures of 5 more Pokemon.
Yeah, I
think.
don't remember what they were, but
There was that weird ghost Pikachu thing.
Yeah.
There was also a Hug Bear. It's just been kind of... I'm not going to say it's terrible because they're doing new stuff. I mean, when we're talking about Pokemon Go, we're going to talk about Execute. It's a bunch of eggs. They've always been really lame in
Yeah.
some sense.
I mean,
So-
exactly. It's always, especially you go to like the Diamond and Pearl era, like Black and White, like it's already gets super cartoony.
Right.
From already pretty cartoony. Like,
So you got to roll with the punches.
yeah. It's Pokemon, you'll still play it.
Pretty much. And that's why this has made so much money. Moving into the main topic, last Friday, Pokemon Go came out. This is a mobile game that just about everybody's heard of because in that week, it has over 14 million users. It's been downloaded over 10 million times on Android alone. It's overtaken Tinder in daily users. I'm pretty sure it's overtaken Twitter in daily users at this point. It has made over $14 million in revenue, which is very impressive as a free-to-play game. Nintendo stock has went up 75%. This is the most their stock has ever jumped since 1985.
So they've just got to be just partying hardcore over there. They've finally done something right after the Wii U and everything else they've gone through. They're just so excited.
Fun trivia about that. In a stakeholders meeting, they apparently thought that the Wii U was going to sell 100 million units.
Right, yeah, no.
Dang.
Right? That really didn't
Yeah.
pan out.
Good
But
try.
this, I think I read somewhere that their stock has went up over $7 billion because of this. It's crazy because they don't even own the the Pokemon Company. Pokemon Company is a second party. They only develop Pokemon for Nintendo, but Nintendo doesn't own them.
Yeah.
But what we have here today is Kara, who's played this game almost religiously for the last week. Caleb, who's played Pokemon almost religiously since he was a little one. And also Brent, who's just here. Say hi again, Brent.
Hey.
Yo.
Yeah, we'll preface this. I have not played Pokemon Go yet.
And that's what... You don't have a smartphone.
This is true.
And had I not just recently got a smartphone, I wouldn't have played it. But that's
So this
not-
is really what it's like to experience Pokemon Go as an old person. This is
Oh.
this is
I
that
am-
that's the perspective here.
Yeah.
I'm living vicariously
Yeah.
through others.
Yeah.
If you're living vicariously about a mobile game through people, you might want to reevaluate your life priority. I'm just throwing that one out there, man.
And I also don't necessarily want to throw old people out of this because I have seen multiple people. I saw people in their 60s and 70s
Brian
playing earlier
Cranston is
today.
playing this.
Brian
Right.
Cranston is playing this. Did
Yeah.
you see that?
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
yeah,
didn't.
I don't want to discriminate too much.
Right. It's interesting. So, Kara, what about this has really got you so hot and bothered?
I mean, I already am an outdoors person to begin with, so I have something to go do while I'm walking around. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy nature and everything else, but it's enjoyable. You don't have to constantly stay on it most of the time. It vibrates when something comes up, so you can enjoy a nice walk and have something else going along with it, and gets everyone going outside and really makes a connection with other people too, so that's fun.
So, what about you, Caleb? I know that you've been a Pokemon enthusiast for a long time. Was there something about this other than the fact that they just went Pokemon?
I've been enjoying it a lot, like lately, especially being on vacation or walking around a lot. Like when my friends weren't being kind of jerks about me being on my phone too much, it was like really fun to be able to just walk around. Though granted, I almost walked into traffic once.
Oh, you were almost one of those news
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
I was almost one of the ones. I listened to it and discovered a body, you know.
Well,
You
actually-
can't give us a bad name though.
Yeah, that's what's important. Brent, you haven't played it, but you have talked to plenty of people. Why have some of the people you've talked to got real excited about this game?
I don't know. Like most of the people I know who have are big Pokemon people, so
I guess that
wasn't.
makes sense.
Yeah, I wasn't shocked when they downloaded it.
I feel like we should talk about all the stories this has generated before we delve too much into it. So far, 2 people have found dead bodies in rivers. I have heard...
I didn't know it was two.
Yeah, there was a second one.
Damn.
A person has wrapped their car around a tree playing
Is that in
it.
this area?
I don't think that was in this area.
Okay, so we have 1 plus and one negative at this point.
Is-
How many of these are for us?
Well, yeah, I guess finding the dead bodies.
Finding
You
the
are
dead
helping
bodies.
a murder
Right,
case.
yeah,
here.
we're
Okay.
really helping out the community
Or a
here.
missing persons case.
And
Well,
I
like
do
it's-
like how they do note in each of these stories that the person stopped catching Pokemon for long enough to call the police.
Right.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, the girl's like,
Oh,
oh
that-
yeah, I totally stopped. Why would you even question
Dead
that?
body, I still need that Squirtle. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, oh, I wonder if there's a Ghastly out here now.
The Squirtle's on the body. Oh, I'll just catch it to be respectful. Like,
I'm about to say, paying my last wishes. So they take a little picture with the camera. Augmented reality. Boop.
Well, there was that. Speaking of on the dead body, there was that story about that kid who had a grave with a Pokemon.
Oh,
stick.
yeah, that was in Japan, I think. So the kid's brother had died. And at his gravesite, there was a picture of Pikachu because that was his favorite Pokemon. He
Yeah.
went to pay respects to his brother. His phone vibrated. And when he took it out, there was a Pikachu on his brother's grave. So that was kind of a sweet thing.
that's pretty neat.
awesome.
Right. At first, I thought it might be a dark thing. I'm like, no, I'm going to look at this in the positive way.
Yeah.
Speaking of a dark thing, yeah. So you guys know where they got all the geolocation data for this, right? Brent, I know you
Yeah,
know.
I do.
Caleb, Kara, do you know?
Google Maps, I'm assuming.
Nope.
No idea.
So Niantic, the developer, they made a game called Ingress prior to this.
Oh, right. I did. I mean, I thought I heard it was something else, but I mean, there's so many different things going around right now that.
This game was very similar to Pokemon Go in that there's a lot of locations of interest and you go and you try to capture them. But it doesn't involve taking out your camera and take pictures. I could be wrong. I've never played Ingress. There's a really dedicated community. I'm not one of them. And what they did was they just grabbed all that geoloc data and threw it in. So this resulted in places like Arlington Cemetery, the White House, and the Holocaust Museum.
Area 51.
Area
the
51.
Pentagon.
There was one where it was a shipwreck. So there is a Pokestop a quarter mile off the coast.
I
Yeah.
mean, that would be fine to get to. I've been voting plenty of times where you could just go out and be hanging out in the
Well,
summer. I mean, that would be amazing.
It's like
They should put something really cool at it.
It's like we were talking during the week. Like I waited all week to hear man tried to jump fence to get into White House, and then like the next day find out that he was playing Pokemon Go. Like
if you can't find out safe ways to do things, then you're just.
Well,
you are going to fail at life in some other way.
So, Brent, you had a rebuttal to that?
oh,
Sorry.
well, apparently they are fighting over the gym at the White House in the lawn
Well,
outside the fence.
That's
so-
a whole different topic, but we'll get onto that as well.
Can you no longer take tours of the White House? Is that not
I
a
could
thing
have
anymore?
sworn you.
You have to schedule it with like your senator or something.
Wow. I didn't know that was a thing
Well,
anymore.
Well, I mean, if you're dedicated, I'm just saying, there's a will, there's a way.
Your comic.
Yeah. I read a comic where this guy's sitting there looking at his phone and he goes, a little further, and then a voice behind him goes, can I help you? Yeah, is there a Squirtle around here? And it zooms out and it's in the Oval Office. And he goes, son, I admire your dedication, but how did you get in here? So this game has absolutely been grabbing everybody. There are 3 teams you can join when you hit level 5. Mystic, Valor, and the one nobody is. What's Mark? Instinct. Caleb, what are you?
Valor. I like Moltres. I don't agree with their philosophy. I like Moltres.
So you don't believe in the meme propaganda I keep seeing?
Basically, I'm just a victim.
And yeah, I'm just following orders. Oh, we completely missed the thing I was trying to say about the location. Places are wanting to get removed from the geoloc data because did you hear about the thing at the Holocaust Museum?
Wasn't it like a coughing?
They
or
found a
something?
coughing. They found a Pokemon that exudes poisonous gas
That's like-
in the Holocaust
That's
Museum.
super dark.
It's
Like,
crazy dark.
What's worse is the person was using AR and then posted the picture online for other people to see. It's not like Pokemon would have found that picture themselves and been like, let's share this with the world.
Yeah, no, it's like, this is appropriate. The other ones that you see, there's been ones where they've made Poke Nudes now, where people will bring up the augmented reality and then use the Pokemon to cover their genitalia. That's a thing.
Yeah, I saw one.
oh my god.
No means no, Rattata.
Oh, God. What was the other one I
What's
saw?
worse was it was a person I knew. It wasn't just a random meme. It was...
That's real dark. The other one was Pokemon is the greatest gaming innovation of our generation, and it shows a Pidgey, and then if you look up and to the left, there's people paying respects at a casket. Yeah, That's where people are playing this kind of game.
See, but at the
That's
same
not
time,
on the game.
It's not only the game. I saw a picture the other day that had a bunch of people that was doing the Ohio thing with their arms as the O and the H, and the person in the casket was the I. I mean, this isn't like all just Pokemon Go people.
It's not just Pokemon Go
it's
people,
just that
but
this is what the news. I mean, if they can find it, they're gonna bring it out just like everything. So it's.
yeah,
You know.
I'm not going to deny that. But back to the teams thing. There's Instinct Valor and God, I lost it. Mystic. That's my team.
I was gonna say,
That's
how
our
you probably
team.
got your own team. Wow, way to represent.
But that's the thing about it is, in my book, the competitive aspect is totally broken. It's broken and pointless.
It's the fact that you want money. You don't want to spend money because being in gyms gets you enough tokens to buy things in the shop. So I mean that's the whole competitiveness is that you want to be able to get things from the shop.
You want to be able to get things from the shop, but at the same time, one gem per day gives you 10 cents worth of currency. It's not a lot. And gyms get turned over so easy. It's not hard. That's why I think the competitive aspect is trash. So if you go and you take 10 gems and you put your strongest Pokemon in there, people are overturning a 2500 CP Gyarados with a 700 CP Pokemon. There's nothing that really lets you keep it.
Unless you go to Six Flags on the very last day and make sure you sweep a bunch of gyms at the very end, and so no one can be there the rest of the season. This was my
That's
man. I
Garrett's
should have got a
actual
season.
plan.
I should have got a season pass. What was I thinking?
Are there actual gyms at Six Flags?
Yeah, they
Oh,
have
yeah.
they released this whole giant newsletter, and it wasn't just like a normal newsletter. It was
Yeah.
here. It had all these detailed tips of here,
It
catch
blew my
this.
mind because Six Flags goes, we're excited to be part of the Pokemon Go community. Here's the 15 Pokestops and here's the 5 gyms. Make sure you bring an extra battery pack. Make sure that when you throw the Pokeballs, you tap them again so you can pick them back up. These were in-depth tips. These weren't little ones. Bring along an incense to capture more. This was somebody who played the game who said, oh my god, it's my time to shine. Suddenly all these nerdy things. Guys, we can do this.
You want to make fun of it at the same time McDonald's is trying to partner with Nintendo.
And we'll touch on the partnership aspect, but as far as it's Kara predicted it, everybody predicted it. It's going to be a thing. Let's let Caleb weigh in on the competitive aspect real fast. Have you done any of that, Caleb?
It's kind of annoying, honestly. Like,
It's what's fueled this tribalism between the Valor and the Mystic. You're not getting anything. It's a game about made-up monsters.
no, it's like crazy. I'm part of like some team on Facebook, and it's like Team Valor in the Illinois area, like, and it's like literally over 200 people.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
like,
I'm part of the Mystic Sages of St. Louis, so
When okay, so I was at because my friend Mark, he was like, I joined Team Instinct because I like Zapdos, so I wasn't sure if you could only catch the birds via these teams. And I asked Josh, and he goes, no, there's nothing special about it. And I go, so these teams are fighting over birds?
No, I go, would that be better or worse than fighting over colors? Because that's what we're doing. So the competitive aspect doesn't appeal to me in any way, shape, or form.
I haven't actually witnessed anyone. I mean, yeah, I've noticed people like joking around, being like, "Oh, you're the opposite team," but I haven't actually seen any actual hatred come
No
of this
throwdowns.
heard any news stories. I feel like if there was anything big, that the news would have got on that immediately. Oh, now there's all-out wars between the different Pokemon. They're becoming violent. They're organizing.
Organized pokey crime. Looks like Team Rocket's at it again.
Right.
Yeah. Great. But I think that we can turn into the whole corporate partnership thing at this point. So if you had a business and you saw all these people walking around playing Pokemon Go and they were gathering around these stops, what would you want to do as a business?
Want to get a Pokestop?
You would want to get a Pokestop. They announced just a few days ago that businesses will be able to pay to be Pokestops or gyms. So that's only going to bolster it even more. So
They're gonna make crazy money.
they're already making crazy.
I mean, like, even crazier.
But
Like,
it's not that far from the DS stuff. The 3DS with
the hotspots.
yeah.
Yeah. But I don't
But
think
are those still a thing anymore?
they are still a thing, I believe.
At
I
Home
haven't
Depots and stuff?
I know they're at some places.
It is Home Depot.
It
There
used
was
to be
Home Depot and
and
McDonald's. And some Starbucks used
and
to
some
have it.
Best Buys.
Some Best Buys as
Oh.
well. I think it's still a thing, but I'm not positive it's still a thing. So you can see how the Nintendo could potentially milk this like nobody's business. Because if you have 1,000 businesses and they tell each of those 1,000 businesses $1,000 and you can be a Pokestop for 2 months, they made $1 million off of going boop boop boop. It's nothing. It's amazing. It's crazy.
And then are they going to have too many and start taking them away from people that already had them for free?
Well, that actually brings up another question with the competitive nature. What are they doing to balance the nature? So if everybody gets on Team Mystic, I hear that they are the predominant force in America.
Really?
That's what I heard, but that's just from informal surveys I've seen online.
Yeah.
If 60% of them's Team Mystic, if you started the game tomorrow, why would you want to be any other team?
I mean, yes, but at the same time, I mean, I've been pretty much all over the greater St. Louis area, and there has been battles everywhere, and it's constantly a changing game. Like, there's never been an overwhelmingly, usually when it has been, I pulled in somewhere and it's overwhelmingly blue, within a couple, hours or something like that, it's all mixed up.
So does that speak to the strongness of the competitive play or the balance of the teams? Because to me that says if there is a ton of one kind, either the game is balanced really well or really bad. And to me, I just don't think the game's balanced well at all.
I mean, it's not, because, one person can take out an 8-person gym, or an 8-level gym, in, not very long at all. So that's not
You've
very
done this,
balanced at
haven't
all.
you?
Possibly.
Yeah, I figured. You've really been at this. You've caught like 3 times the amount of Pokemon I have.
I'm not upset about it. Like, I don't know if you're trying to guilt me,
No.
or I don't know. I've
What
gotten a
example
lot of
is that?
exercise. I've walked over like 7 miles today, so.
You're gonna have calves of steel. Caleb, you asked a question?
What's your Pokedex at?
My Pokedex, I have caught and seen 53. Kara, do you know what your number
I
is?
have caught 62.
And see, that's the thing about it, and we'll touch on that in a bit. How many
Yeah.
have you caught seen?
Only 52, 58 seen. But every time I lost one, it's because it glitched out on me.
And the game, I don't think they were anticipating this kind of a turnout.
Oh, they had no idea they were
They
going to
have-
get this many people.
They have gotten destroyed. And I love that some of the other people we talk to, they go, yeah, I'm not really that big into it.
There was a whole period, I don't know, I'm kind of in an age where everyone really loved Pokemon, they played a bunch of games, and then you got to a certain age where, even if you did like Pokemon, you didn't necessarily want everyone to know. I never cared too much, but at the same time, my parents stopped buying me all the games. I had a couple, and then they weren't buying me anymore, so...
Yeah, I think that's
And
kind of brought everybody
I was
out.
young enough, so, and now it's free, so everyone can do it. I was in the back of a car earlier today, and the 2 back seats were facing backwards, and one of the kids had a giant Pikachu doll, and the other one was sitting there doing dance moves at me, and then they were playing Pokemon Go at me backwards in the car. Like, I mean, it's young, it's everywhere, it's free, you can...
It's insane, is what it is. We were in St. Charles a couple nights ago. Brent, I was texting you this, live texting you. We saw, 150 people?
Yeah.
All playing. There were 2 different cars going down the street blaring the Pokemon theme song. They were different cars.
That's a little nuts.
it was-
Like,
It's not a little nuts. It's a lot of nuts. This is everywhere.
By the way, St. Louis people, Main Street St. Charles is the place to be. I had lunch down there earlier today. And
Really?
again,
You went back?
Well, yeah, we did. And you can sit at certain restaurants and hit like four places at once with all lures going at most of the time. So it's pretty great.
Is it? Okay, yes. All right, it is. We're playing on the positive here. So before we move off of it entirely, even though I know we keep flip-flopping, is there any way that you would suggest improving the competitive play, Kara?
Not really. I mean, the fact that, like I said, the biggest driver, I think, or one of them, because I don't think there should be any kind of indifference, but real problem with people on different teams. So I think the biggest draw for me personally is gaining money that I can actually spend, because a lot of free-to-play games don't offer that, and so I do like the fact that that's an option.
I do like the fact it's an option. I just wish, I guess they can't incentivize it too much or no one will spend the money, but at the same time, if they don't incentivize it at all, it does become a pay-to-win type of situation, sort of. What about you, Caleb? Do you think they should change anything with the way the gyms are set up currently?
I think how they're set up is fine. Maybe, like, I don't know, it's just a constant back and forth, as you said, and that it makes, at least me, it's just like, I don't want to try this again.
Yeah.
Taking this gym 3 or 4 times, like.
You don't really. We can only gather the benefits of that once a day.
Yeah.
So if you go around and you get 10, you're like, all right, time to cash it out, and you look down and 9 of them have been taken. It's like,
Well, so you've been playing in Vegas, you said,
Yeah.
and how anywhere else besides there? Were you there
Vegas
pretty
and
much since
California.
it's been out? California. So you've been in pretty populated places other
Yeah.
than St. Louis as well. So I'm a little intrigued too, because how it is further out. Like, maybe in less populated areas. I mean, I know people are still playing it constantly, and I know there's going to be people in those parks. But if this is everywhere, there's got to be places out in the middle of nowhere. And how long can you obtain those gyms? Like,
I heard because of the Ingress thing, basically, if you're not in a heavily populated area, you are SOL.
Oh, really?
yeah, I saw a meme where they said how it feels to get a Pokemon gym in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota, and it showed a guy sitting on a snow chair, and it said King of the North, and there was just one Pokemon, and there was nothing else around. If you don't have spaces that have been located, if there's a bunch of kitschy Americana, maybe.
Well, see, and that's the thing I kind of thought, too, it would be more off Google Maps and Street View and tap into that a little bit more. I guess it doesn't. It's mostly off this Ingress thing, so I guess that was an overassumption on my part. Just because, I mean, yeah, you have the world's largest ball of twine is in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, There's different things out and about that I would have assumed might have things, and
I bet
that's the
some
world's
of
largest. Maybe some of them do, but
For the most part, yeah, I think not terribly.
if we have any Kansas listeners, possibly, maybe, doubt we reach that far, but you never know. We comment on that.
Yeah, there are 2 Pokestops entering Kansas and leaving Kansas. There's nothing
Congratulations,
else.
you did it.
Yeah, congratulations, guys. So speaking of the way the game is structured, I want to talk on the Pokemon Go accessory, because I have nothing but salt for this. Have you heard of it, Caleb?
No, I have not.
Wonderful. Oh, I am going to be throwing such shade
I mean,
here.
I've just been, like, drinking for a week, like.
How's that different from most of your life?
Ouch.
Bird.
Yeah.
You didn't say it was different.
I mean, I can't lie. I mean, I drank, like, an exceptional amount in Vegas. I mean, once again, I saw Chris Angel, so, like, I had to be pretty drunk for that.
Yeah. Good Chris Angel shout out.
I'm drunk enough to believe in magic now. Yay! Like,
I mean, if Harry Potter didn't do it for you, I don't know what you needed to believe.
I'm just a nihilist. What can I say?
Good times. So, I completely got off track here.
Structure of the game.
The structure of the game. It's structured really well, where you have to catch more Pokemon to power them up, and you have to also catch more Pokemon to evolve them. And it allows you not to worry so much about fighting and more about catching the in-game collectibles. So this Pokemon Go accessory, what it does is it links to your app. Every time you are in range of a Pokestop or a Pokemon you have caught before, it allows you to press this accessory, and it tries to capture the Pokemon or collects items from the Pokemon stop. It is $30.
So it's basically for the lazy people who are sick of, like...
It's too spot on. That's my problem. The game is repetitive by nature. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
They are selling you a $30 button that shows exactly how repetitive it is.
Now, if it'll keep people from doing this and driving, then yes, maybe that's if that's what people need to
But
not do this and drive.
You're all gung-ho for this. You said it would be a good present.
I'd be okay with it. I would like to. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I have no problem with the way it looks, but personally, I'd like to stylize it up a little bit, make it a little, jazz it up, make it match different outfits. But
Wow.
no, give it a little shiny
Different-
place. Like, no,
different
not
bands.
really,
Yeah,
not
different
really.
bands.
Get different bands. I mean, but And I mean, that will become a whole market. We're joking about this, but that will totally 100% become a thing.
Probably, it almost certainly will. The pre-orders for those are going for $100 on eBay right now. $100. This is
That's
a
insane.
button. It is a button. That's all it is. Would you buy this, Caleb?
I mean,
Be honest.
Not for 100, but for
I
30.
would-
$30.
$30,
Or would you
I
want
would
it as a
maybe
gift?
ask. Yeah, I'd maybe ask for it as a gift. I probably wouldn't spend my own money on it.
Okay, now, Brent, do you know people who would spend money on this? You know some pretty intense people.
Maybe one of them.
Is that Mark?
No, actually, I don't think he would.
I can't imagine because it's too there. I mean, if somebody said you have a game where all you essentially do is click a button, because when you boil it down, that's what it is,
Yeah.
and then they literally sell you a button, is that not too far? Does this not bother anybody
I mean, it
else?
shows like self-awareness. Like,
But it shows self-awareness and they pay $30 for this kind of way.
and they're gonna get the money. So like,
Gotta get the money. They're gonna sell like 100,000 of these things.
Well, people want to take the gyms. It comes back
But
to the
it
whole
doesn't do-
competitiveness because you gotta keep getting it. With each gives you more Stardust, so that way you can power up your creatures more. That's what the biggest benefit to it.
I just can't unless they improve
Or
the
so you
competitive.
can get more, so that you can evolve it, and again to power them up on top of it.
But you power them up to take the gems to get the money that lets you buy upgrades. You could have bought $30 worth of Poke Coins to get the upgrades. Pretty sure with $30 worth, what are you gonna buy with the upgrade coins? With the Poke Coins, there
Well,
are.
some people just like to battle too. I'm not saying I'm not. I don't not enjoy it, but I honestly don't spend that much time battling. I like wandering around and catching things.
Right, but this doesn't. You like wandering around and catching things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so would you like it if instead of catching things, you just clicked a button?
I mean, I wouldn't use it out and about. Like, I'd use it while I was walking around work. I would just click it.
Very tactful way not to say while driving.
Well, driving too. Like I said, if it keeps people from doing this and driving, I think tapping a button on their
Brent,
wrist.
you got something on this.
Well, no. She's right, but it's the fact that we have to say that. It's
Oh, it's
There-
100% a problem.
There's no way we can avoid
well,
that.
they need to. There are definitely some things they need to fix.
There are things they need to fix, but they can't. Kara brought this up because I said what they need to do is patch it so that way if you're moving over 15 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, nothing shows up and you can't click on anything. But then you hear stories about people, because I heard right now it's 20 miles an hour-ish. They're not supposed to show up.
Oh, I've got them way...
I've got them on the highway.
Well, no, because, being a passenger, I've had a passenger in my seat or been the passenger for the majority of time I've done this, because again, you shouldn't be going to parks alone. Don't think it needs to be said, people, but don't go to parks alone, especially at night.
Right. And so you notice while you're in the passenger of the car, and that's the thing that you had said is they can't really disable it because the target demographic is supposed to be kids 7 to 12.
Right.
Kids
yeah.
who can't drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't, if they're little kids, they need to be, they want to be while their parents are driving around and...
Right. The idea with the accessory, Caleb, do you see it as a benefit for those safety reasons? I know Brent, we shouldn't have to do this.
I feel like, as you guys were saying, with whole it just shouldn't show up above a certain speed because people are gonna do it. People are stupid, kind of
And people are still driving really slow to catch them now. I know Brent told me a story where someone slowed down to 20 miles on the interstate because they're like, Pokemon!
Well, and that's just
I would have
stupid.
been ticked.
You wouldn't have been ticked, you would have been in a wreck.
That's a fair point.
But, this has been around for a long time. Yes, this game is much more popular than other ones, but at the same time, how many apps do you use, especially Waze as an example, as soon as you open it up, if you're driving, it asks if you're the passenger. I'm surprised they haven't done something like that, but at the same time, it has a giant Gyarados and says, be aware of your surroundings.
I thought that was pretty clever.
I
the
thought
first
it's
time.
adorable, yeah. So, if you can't be aware of your surroundings and drive in Pokemon, that's not...
Yeah.
It's kind of the same principle without making you tap a button saying yes, I'm that person. And it might get to that point, but like I said, you can't block it out. Children are supposed to be the demographic of this game, even though there's no judgment for any age. Again, it's like Legos, even though I mean I guess you can only be 99 for Legos, but.
You know that, Brent? You got a time limit. He's the only one in here.
Well, with his diet, he won't live past 99 anyway. So
that's so salt.
That is salt. That is hurtful.
That was a throwdown right there. Go ahead.
I was to say,
Yeah,
I think the demographic of Pokemon is actually above the child age limit.
It is. I mean, right now it is, but you can't. They're not going to limit it. I mean, they're going to get all the people they can. And tons of children still like Pokemon. I've seen everyone of all ages playing this. And to cut it out, road trips, driving around, parents want something to entertain their kids while they're driving them around and be quiet in a car. Like, that's just how it works. So to cut it out to a speed limit, I think, is... Again, it's more of a common sense thing, and the problem lies in the fact that just more people are doing it. How many people did you see before this driving and texting? You don't know that everyone that you see doing it on the highway is playing Pokemon. They could still be texting, but at the same time, it's a problem with everything, and then it's now just what the person is doing on their phone.
They're everywhere.
It's definitely a phenomenon. I don't know how many times that word has been said yet. Not at all, but it's the perfect descriptor.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere, and it's insane. And you're right, it doesn't know a demographic, because while we were in St. Charles, some dudes who were easily our age were talking about all the different teams fighting, and they go, it was like in Pokemon 2000, when the three birds are at war, there will be no peace. And I'm just sitting over here, God, you people are so dorky.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not, but this is the kind of people who are now coming out of the woodwork, and more power to them. But 5 years ago, do you think you would have ever imagined this? Caleb, I'm not sure at the time that you could make memories at that point. I know you're pretty
young. 17? I can remember 17. You said 5 years ago, didn't you?
I did say 5 years ago. I can't ever remember how young you are.
But it's also the accessibility.
Not 11.
It's got such a baby face. Accessibility.
I mean, that's really the problem there. It's the accessibility. How many people before had DS and everything else to play all the other games, and they're not going to go out and spend money for it. And especially people will do what is trendy. There's people that want to do it because there's Pokemon. I've seen plenty of people you would never expect playing this game because everyone else is playing it, and people want to go outside and be in parks, and if everyone's doing it...
This actually brings up a point I read earlier that I thought was really interesting, and everybody in here can weigh in on it. I heard that this game should be viewed as the successor to Pokemon Snap we never got. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it would be... I don't know. I just still want it for the Wii U so bad.
That would be amazing. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But how is this different?
Because that's not how you make them evolve, and it's not... I mean, the picture taking is not... half the time I have my AR off because it drains battery, and I'm already out long enough. And I'm not going to spend money on a battery pack for a free game. So
you're going to spend $30 on a button for it. No, you're hoping I'll spend $30 on a button.
There you go.
Yeah, I knew where that was going. Yeah, smooth. Anyways, Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, can see it.
But you don't want to see it.
I don't, but I can see it, yeah.
What about you, Caleb?
Maybe more of a spiritual successor. I think, like, all the ideas they were trying to implement in Snap, really they probably built upon for Pokemon Go. But... I mean, I feel like the original idea is kind of there,
The original idea is kind of there. I do kind of hope it's not a successor.
Yeah.
Because I like Snap. In fact, I think that's one of the games we're going to replay somewhat soon because you keep talking about it. Yeah. It's super fun. But I can see where they're coming from on it. So I can't really argue it, unfortunately.
So one thing I don't think we touched about when we talked about the news, because... I know Kara got linked an article. I don't know how in-depth it went.
Yeah.
That it's been helping people with depression and anxiety playing Pokemon Go.
Now, do you remember why that is?
Like, some of the statuses people tweeted were you know, it's been helping me through like this long weekend of dark depression, going out, playing Pokemon Go, and someone who had a crippling anxiety took his son out to play it, and it's the first time he's talked to that many people in like 10 years.
So there's a lot of positive aspects about it too.
The point is that it distracts you into something that you really like while enjoying the part of things that you wanted to do. You didn't necessarily want to deal with the people, but you still wanted to be able to get outside or get out of your house if that was your problem. And this enables you to take that little piece of your mind that's always nagging you and put it into this game and have something to concentrate it into while you're doing it. And I think that's the biggest factor. That a lot of people that haven't suffered from anything, I could easily see how they would just be like, if a game can get you outside, yes, you should have been outside a long time ago. And I've seen that as a response, but at the same time, I think those people don't necessarily know how to put aside, how hard it can be to put aside the little things that nag you in the back of your head. So I think that it's going to be a huge benefit for a lot of people.
I can see that. What about you, Caleb? Joking aside, you're at an age where a lot of people have trouble sometimes relating, or it's at a point where if you have a problem, it can be kind of difficult to deal with it. Have you noticed any of your acquaintances?
Oh, totally. I've noticed, like, a lot of people I usually see, like, some dark stuff, like, on social media or text or anything like that. It's, like, really helping them kind of center themselves, you know? Like, it's giving them just a new thing to focus on that they don't have to think about what's going on in their heads, you know? Like, I've even noticed this some with myself, like...
Have you noticed an increase in you're already a pretty social individual.
Yeah.
But have you noticed an increase in anybody else's sociability resulting from this?
I mean, I've talked to people that I haven't talked to in, like, years.
Really?
Because of Pokemon Go, yeah.
Wow.
It's weird.
Do they just message you out of nowhere? Do they comment on your statuses? Or?
Oh, they'll post a status, I'll like it, or, like, comment something, and then they'll be like, oh, how have you been? Like, you know, I've reconnected with a couple of friends, like...
Wow, alright, sounds like you need to go Pokemon hunting.
Probably.
Just in regards to that, I think on my Facebook thing alone, there's like 50 people who've been playing Pokemon Go.
I'd be surprised if it was only 50. You have like 900 Facebook friends.
Like 600.
Oh, sorry.
That many people can't like you.
Oh my god, we can't do the whole thing against Fred.
I'm not going to make fun of you.
He knows I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, you'd love to. Yeah.
It's
Kara?
okay, baby.
Well, I was just going to say, we had brought up the fact that, you know, there's trouble against teams and everyone's going against each other, but at the same time, there has been a unity in the teams themselves. So it's bringing people together, and like I said, there hasn't been anything that's been too negative between teams. So there's really only been positive camaraderie in the team building themselves, and I think that's really the other side to it.
All it takes is one gang-style execution to ruin it for
It
everybody.
does. So no one get any ideas or anything, but...
Yeah,
keep it peaceful.
They're gonna find the bound body of somebody lit on fire, and it's gonna say "Valor for Life."
But
Things went to a dark place.
LYF. Like.
Yeah, LYF hashtag.
But like he was saying, he talked to people that he hadn't in forever, and I know people are connecting me like, oh, I'm Team Mystic too. Let's go take some gyms together. And I think that's also another. It's not necessarily competitive to go get gyms, but at the same time, it's something to do with someone else because you're both together. You're both the same team. Let's go take on this because it does let you enter the battle dome or arena at the same time. So, and you both get a fight against them. So I think it might not also be a whole competitive aspect, but more of an alliance.
I have not personally made any friends through Pokemon Go, but I know that you've gone out and done it much more than me. I don't think I've heard you make any friends, but surely you've talked to people.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't, met up with any strangers to go out specifically to do this.
That's probably for the best, thank you.
Right. I mean, there's plenty of people doing it, and I mean, all I have to say to that is be safe, but at the same time...
There have been some weird Craigslist posts about Pokemon Go. I've been hearing them on the radio.
Oh, I've missed those.
Yeah, I've heard some of those.
Yeah, right?
I can only imagine. I mean, it's Craigslist.
Pokemon Joe is what I heard it called. But Gross.
I don't even know where I was going with that anymore. So
About meeting people, going
Oh
out.
yeah, I haven't met anyone specifically, but I've definitely talked to a ton of people. I mean, we went into a store earlier and the sales clerk started talking about us. That's actually why we ended up in St. Charles again for lunch. She's like, "Oh yeah, I ate at this place and it's great and there's wine and you can sit there for lunch and there's four spots with lures all at the same time." And we're like, "Well, we've been walking around all day. They have wine
Let's
and
go
a bunch
get
of
drunk."
Let's go get drunk and catch Pokemon." Like, why not?
And then she looks at her credit card next month. It's like, when did I spend $70 on Niantic? I'm not even sure what that means.
Data usage, Niantic charges. I mean, all the ways Pokemon Go is helping other companies that they don't even know about.
Pretty much.
I mean, cell companies alone have got to be praising this. How many people have probably upped their data plans? I mean, I haven't personally, but I'm sure that's definitely a thing.
Probably roll pretty hard on that. But we're just focusing on where it currently is. Now, Caleb is an ardent Pokemon supporter. How soon do you hope that they roll out the next 100?
I mean, with Johto being like, I was at that age when the first one came out that I was just getting into video games.
I'm about to say, you would have been young because I know I was in 5th grade when I played it.
So that puts me in what, kindergarten?
Approximately thereabouts,
Somewhere.
womb-ish.
Okay, not quite that young. But so I started playing Yellow. Like that's probably the first game I really beat. But the first Pokemon game I owned was the Gold version, I think. So I'd be really excited to be able to get it like Typhlosion, you know.
Typhlosion. Oh god, now I feel lame. I know I caught 248 of 251. Typhlosion. Was that for Alligator's final form?
For Alligator is the final form
Damn
of
it.
Totodile.
Son of a... Okay, what's Typhlosion then?
The Fire Starter, final evolution. Cyndaquil.
Oh, okay. I knew Cyndaquil. I didn't know that. Kara, you're totally in the dark here, right?
Yeah, like I said, I played Pokemon Snap, which again is the first gen, and then I played
You played
Red.
something in yellow.
Yeah, I played Red, and I'm pretty sure I played Red and Blue
Oh, okay.
So
The thing that I would concede, because other people have brought it up, the legendary birds are great and all, but they're incredibly basic. I mean, they're cool, but Zapdos is trash. Sorry. He's a trash Pokemon.
Their move pool and the games themselves aren't very good at all.
It's not very good. In fact, the only reason anybody ever used them was because Articuno was one of the most accessible things that had a freeze move. And in the first generation, frozen status was totally broken.
Well, in the first whole... Oh, exactly. Totally on that point. But with the whole, like, legendary birds, too, I mean, when there was only 4 legendary Pokemon, they were really powerful. But then you add everyone else that's actually useful in the post-game, like, competitive aspect.
Yeah, but now you're getting into the meta game, which I think you might be a little niche on that one at this podcast. The second generation had much cooler legendary trio. The legendary dogs, much cooler than the legendary birds.
And especially with their wandering aspect, that could play interestingly into Pokemon.
That would actually play perfectly into it. So, Kara, are you aware of this?
Mm-mm.
So, with the legendary dogs, correct me if I'm wrong on this one, Caleb, when you go into the tower...
I think so.
That's when they all scatter.
Yeah.
And from that point, you can encounter them in the wild, and if you pull up their Pokedex entry, because at that point in the second generation it showed the location of Pokemon, it would show the location of these dogs.
you're bringing back things I haven't thought about in.
Yeah, I played this in
now that
7th
you're saying
grade.
it all again, I'm like, okay,
This all does sound very
I'm
familiar.
feeling this.
But that we're getting away from the point entirely. When do you hope they roll out the next 100? Do you hope it's in 6 months, a year?
I'd say I hope it's in 6 months, but a year would probably be smarter. I feel like business aspect possibly.
It's hard to say. I almost want to base it on season. I'm gonna say like spring because they're gonna have a big lull of people that stop playing drop off in winter. I mean, you have a lot of states and places, and it's all over the country that are gonna stay warm and they're gonna stay. But the U.S. is got to be one of their biggest demographics, and in that winter is going to be a drop off for a lot of places. So I think to bring it back in the spring would probably make the most sense.
Yeah, I feel like they need to research what the how quickly people are finishing the Pokedex too, Because, I mean, we're already almost to the halfway point ourselves.
Yeah, but we've slowed down tremendously.
We have. We've
That is
slowed
true.
down
Like,
tremendously.
We got 40 in the first 2 days.
That was the same here.
And
But
that's a
at what
question.
point? What is it? What is it? The point in your Pokedex that you reach the rarer ones is the reason you've slowed down.
Well, and that's the other thing is
Well-
what defines a rare in this, Kara?
Because right away I got a Dratini.
Yeah, she caught a Dratini.
I mean,
in
granted,
the
I was
first 2
using
days.
an incense walking around a pond, but I mean,
I've seen Electabuzzes, Kara caught an Electabuzz,
I
I've
did.
seen Magmar, I've saw Snorlax. I haven't seen the legendary birds, I haven't heard anybody catching Mewtwo or Mew. Brent, you thought you saw something online.
yeah. I mean, it could be fake. Someone
It could be
claims
fake.
they caught Mew, and someone. I heard that maybe the guy who was at Area 51 caught Mewtwo.
That sounds
but-
too. That sounds too.
Yeah, Jeff Field came
I mean-
out steel beams, like...
Ooh. Oh, someone's going pokey.
I'm sure
No,
there's people that work at Area 51 that play Pokemon, but they're not allowed to have their phone at work.
Yeah,
That's
why
the problem.
That's why the whole Pentagon thing was surprising me. But we are coming up pretty close to the end of this, believe it or not. So let's go ahead and go around and say what we currently think of it and where we hope it's going. We're going to start with Brent and then go around the table. Brent, I know that you don't play it, but what are you interested to see from it in the future?
I think the social aspect's good. I think they need to keep that up. I'm interested to see how it'll pair with the NX when they've said it's going to have
That is curious.
functionality for cell phone, for the mobile games for the NX. So I'm curious to see what they do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
So-
I think, to touch on that real quick, I do think the possibility there, we were talking about, cars now can become hotspots, your phone can become hotspots. If you want to appeal to a younger crowd, I don't know how well it would work, but I feel like turning things like that into a hotspot, because you don't want to give kids, they're not all, of certain ages, aren't all going to have cell phones, so it allows them to have their handheld device and be able for the parent to control the Wi-Fi usage and still be able to go around the house. My buddy has 5 kids, and so they all can't have a cell phone for them to go around and walk around and do this, so I think that's going to enable a more family aspect to it.
Well, on top of that, if they come out with a Pokemon Go console version, you could potentially wander around in that version and then have it pop up in your smartphone app. There's a lot of possibilities here. So
Especially if the whole heavy rumor about it being a part console, part handheld, it would be interesting to see.
how those integrate.
Yeah.
Especially if they connected to, like, Sun and Moon, for instance.
Yeah,
Some
there's
sort of
all the
beneficial way.
cross possibilities. But did you have anything else, Brent?
No, I think you guys can add more than I can.
All right, Caleb, go.
I've been really enjoying it, of course, especially in Vegas. It was super cool.
Catch it while pokey drunk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, the more normal drunk, but whatever.
Okay.
I think it's interesting how they put out the different Pokemon, because I right away found one of my favorites, Kabuto. Like one of the
Really?
most- yeah.
You found a Kabuto?
I found like 6 Kabutos.
What?
Wow!
And 2 Omanytes.
We need to go to your...
Yeah,
your
go
show.
to the Golden Nugget.
What? Go to
Right.
California?
Yeah, we're going right now. We're on it.
You caught... So
Sorry,
you caught an
wait.
Aerodactyl?
No, not yet. I caught a Charmander on the beach. I thought that was
That's-
kind of ironic.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, but...
We're
Don't
going,
die here. Get away.
we're going on a spontaneous vacation. Let 4 Pokemon go.
We Pokemon went. It only cost us $900. Yeah, worth it. How much have you spent on it? 0? Maybe $900. Anyway,
But look at all my Pokemon.
But your backpack's double.
yeah, exactly. I can't believe you found 8 fossil Pokemon. That's crazy. But go ahead.
It was sweet, and like I just think it was interesting to see how they figured out which Pokemon. Like I found a Magmar in a desert when we were driving to Cali.
It's because of all the dead people in the desert.
No, my
That's
buddy.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
why.
My buddy last night pulled up to a funeral home and got a Magnamar because they had a cremation on site.
Oh, that's dark. But you've been enjoying it.
It's been really fun. I think it'll be interesting to see where they go with it for sure.
So what are you hoping they do with it?
I really don't know. Like I think they've pretty nailed it on this one. I think they need to like make the tutorial possibly in the future.
It needs to be less obtuse.
I still haven't figured out but the battles. I just tap the screen rapidly and hope I'm hitting the move I want to hit.
I'll help you out later.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
Anything else from you?
I think it's also interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but people figuring out ways to cheat the game. I had a buddy tape his phone to his ceiling fan.
I've heard
Oh,
about
see, I was thinking of Roomba. They were on sale for Amazon Prime, and if Amazon would have advertised it as put your phone on the Roomba, I mean, I'm pretty sure they would have sold out.
I think they did.
Did they?
Because people need vacuums more than they need.
Well, I
Hey,
mean,
you're achieving 3 things, all at once.
Exactly. You have a clean house, you have eggs hatched, and you also, I don't know, what was the third thing?
I don't know. I just said 3.
Cool. Anyways, so you're just happy to see where they take it, Caleb?
Exactly.
All right.
I'm here for the ride, I suppose.
Yeah. As long as you don't dump too much money into it, right?
I have only dumped 5.
Wow. All right.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Kara, what do you think of it? I'm curious.
well, obviously I've been pretty much loving it, so I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm a little worried it might get, again, too commercial, and it's...
Go too
No.
mainstream.
I mean, in the fact of, like,
Spirit
businesses
Pokemon,
having to pay for it, and if businesses are paying for it and there's Pokestops everywhere, they're going to start taking them off. Like, it shouldn't have to be... I don't know. I have a feeling it could just... They can make it a moneymaker and try and destroy it. And another problem with bringing Pokemon out, or like you were talking about the length of in between how long it's going to be between they release each set of Pokemon, and what if they take really long between each one, because we've seen that they've had issues with the server and everything else, and they've been doing good. There's been a ton of updates. It's working out well. Things are getting fixed, but at the same time, they're still wanting to expand their market, I believe, into different areas, and not all areas are working nearly as well as where we are right now. And how long is that going to take? And if that's the case, yeah, we're going to keep playing for the next couple generations, but if it trails off to the point they're not making enough money down the road, what's it going to be like with, they had Nintendo Wi-Fi support for games like Harvest Moon or whatever back in the day. I believe that they discontinued support for. It might not be Harvest Moon. I might be messing up the game there, but they discontinued support for the Wi-Fi for it.
They do that.
Services. They do it with a lot of things. So but what about the people? Yeah, the demographics died down far enough that they're not gonna put out the rest of the Pokemon at that point. You have all the people that are like, I had to catch them all.
So
I don't know.
We have to go through Blue, Silver, Ruby was next.
There's a lot to
Yeah.
go through.
What's after
Diamond and Pearl.
Diamond, Pearl, then Black and White.
And then Black and White 2, if you count those.
Black and White 2. And,
That's the only one I haven't completed. I
and
just didn't
then was X and Y?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And
then
then,
Omega
Sun and
Ruby.
Moon is coming out. Okay.
So, it's
a lot of generations to come
That's
out.
what 700 and
By my last count, it was like 762-ish.
It's somewhere in the 700s.
Yes.
That's all I can remember.
Yeah, lost track of it. So you're worried that they're going to burn out?
yeah, finish
Okay.
what you start.
All right. Well, I'm pretty confident. I have been enjoying it myself. I'm a little burnt out, not going to lie, just because of how intense it is, and the grindy nature has already kind of got to me.
I'm getting him outside so much, though. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Is that why it looks like you've seen the sun?
Yeah. Or it could just
Yeah,
be the
look-
long commutes.
Yeah, the hot air and the sun. I mean, it's never mind.
Yeah.
Just stop there.
Yeah. Couldn't see that death glare.
He's been nice to me, so I'm gonna play along.
There we go. It's felt like it's kind of repetitive. I like to keep on it because I do want to catch them all. The first generation was my favorite generation. But it kind of feels like it's going to be much more difficult. It's made a little bit easier by the fact that in addition to just being the base type, you can also catch the evolutions, and not just the evolutions you would see out in the wild in Pokemon, like you could see an Arcanine in the wild. In this game, I've seen Ivysaurs in the wild.
I got an Ivysaur up the bar I work at.
There you go. It's not necessarily, but you have to be a higher level to get better Pokeballs. You have to be a higher level for it to be easier. So there is still an incentive to keep leveling up. I don't like how obviously grindy it is. I've said it before. I don't like how the competition currently works. I do know why I like it. Because I like catching up. But I'm going to hit a wall relatively soon where they say you have to catch 90 more Growliths before you're a level that lets you catch, I don't know, an Aerodactyl. Or
It's like a magic card, but like you just have to catch.
But it's
over
I
100 more of
I don't
these.
think it I mean maybe for the really legendary ones I don't think it might be a certain level to get them because so I just started playing with my friend today. I'm level almost 19 and she just started playing today and she ended up catching Pokemon that I didn't start catching until yesterday. So since a lot of them were coming up on my screen, they were coming up on her screen. So people that are just starting, make sure to get with someone who's a higher level than you.
well, I don't think
I mean,
it's
they're
gonna
much
be an
lower
issue.
CP.
I don't think it's
but-
going to be an issue of them showing up, but it's the thing of like a Butterfree showed up once, but since I think we were a low level, it was really hard to catch.
Oh, see, she was able to catch almost all of them.
Okay.
She has almost the Pokedex I have. Not quite, because I've evolved a lot more. But if she was at the evolution status that I am, we have a lot of the same similar ones. So, I mean, granted, like I said, they're all much lower CP, but I don't think you have to be a certain level to get a lot of them.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how they tweak the balance. I'm looking forward to they're going to implement trading. I'm looking forward to seeing how they roll out another generation. I'm curious if they're going to rebalance how the gyms work at all. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still playing it. I'm not downing on you guys. I've still kept playing it. I have almost as many as you do. Well, I think that's all the time we have today. So let me go ahead and thank everybody. Thank you, Brent, for coming on. Caleb
Thank you.
and Kara.
Yeah, thanks. It's been wonderful.
So we will see you next time on Co Opinions.